Hey there, welcome back to another This Week at Skye. Today, for something a little bit different, I've got Ashley Margaret Campbell. How are you, Ashley?
Good morning, Philip James Thompson. So great to be here with you.
Now, we're recording a little bit earlier than we normally do, so we've got early recordings, which is great. And so if there's a little bit less energy, I'm on a coffee and a half already.
What are you normally on by this time? Or when we normally record?
No, two. Yeah. Two.
Yep.
So, I definitely need to reduce that. Anyway, Ashley, how was your week last week?
I had a good week. Went to a couple of webinars, or just one webinar actually. Ascenda have a new TPD product, so they are doing a few webinars, I suppose, just to educate advisors on what this new product is, what it looks like, the TPD severity. So there's a lot of new TPD products anticipated to come to market over the next 6 to 12 months, particularly to help manage increasing TPD claims, the affordability of TPD, that sort of thing. So Ascenda have been brave enough to come out to market with theirs.
Yep. And one of the cheeky things that they've done, and the reason we do these videos is for internal as well as, anyone else can watch. But one of the cheeky things that they've done is every quote we do with their normal TPD, they add a little bit of their new product. What are your thoughts on that?
That'll be an interesting one to watch unfold. I can't wait to review advice documents and pick that up. Hopefully it's not there, but that's, just an extra thing to remember to remove.
Yeah. Ascenda's product team have gone, this is a brilliant way we can help get it in front of more advisors, which makes sense. They've got to get it in front of advisors to get us to consider it, but it does create an extra bit of tension of going, now I've got to actively turn it off and then increase the original cover. So anyway, that'll be interesting. Any advisors out there who watch,
keep an eye out. Yeah, it's going to be there.
Yeah, because you may just quickly go through, create the quote, get the costs and run with it.
Yeah. Their quoting software is already a little bit challenging one to deal with. The easiest option to put in your TPD amounts is to have it all set up how you want it from the sort of first process. And so to have to go and make these edits is not going to be as simple as other quoting softwares.
I can imagine the feedback will go pretty quickly to, hey, love the idea product team, but let's make the advisors' lives a little bit easier.
And everyone hates us right now.
Or less tension.
Yeah.
Yes, my week last week was good. What did I do? I had a lot on. So we had friends coming into the office. So Jordan and Nathan recording their Challenging the Standard podcast in the office. So that was good seeing them. And then I've been doing these monthly catch-ups with other advisors following MDRT where we talk about AI.
Catch-ups are specifically to discuss
that's
AI.
all we talk about. Other advisors who are much smarter than me talk about what they're doing, how they're dabbling in AI, and just ideas. A lot of it is just more internal stuff. It's not really client-facing. It's like how do we, some ideas were, how do we do staff onboarding and how do we find the right candidates to fit the job descriptions and some of those things. There were plenty of other ways at which we can use AI. It's something that we know we don't do all that well at Skye in terms of we're not on the front foot just from a data security point of view, but we want to learn. It is going to change the world, so we want to get better at it. And then the last thing I did, I was 2 days up in Brisbane with Taz and Trent. So we just joined up with a business coaching group and they had a 2-day breakaway session. So it was the three of us and Azaria up there, which was good. So just kind of, I went up there thinking we'll talk about like the long-term future of Skye and what we're going to do after 2027, but we focused the whole time on how do we hit our
2027
audacious goals for 2027 So
how good.
It was really good.
Was it a group format sort of thing or just Skye?
No, there was other advisors and other firms there. So advisors and accountants that they work with. So it was good in terms of just talking to other advisors, but there was no real collaboration. So no one else had the ability to have opinions on what we're doing or what we're, So it was very much in the sessions, it was just us talking about.
They were just facilitating sort of questions to get you thinking about how to make that
head
in the direction.
It was like a 90-page workbook
that
we worked through as well. So there's a lot of content and we sped through it. It was like, think about this. You got 10 minutes days. And then, but the purpose is get some understanding and then take it away and spend a lot of time on it. A lot of it we'd done a lot of work, but there's some things that we did change with some of the like values and the mission that we'll be talking about.
Will they be released on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Exciting.
So yes. All right, let's talk about some stories. So the first story is with RiskInfo. So there was a panel session that I was a part of that AIA's office, and I said some stuff that I often say. I just kind of say stuff off the cuff, and I don't not believe it, but it does make for an interesting headline. So the headline is general advice: part of underinsurance solution or ticking time bomb.
Yeah,
because that's what I called it.
Very clickbaity, Phil.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a journalist. I don't think about getting clicks, but it's definitely something I said, and I do think general advice is when it comes to insurance, is one of these areas that a lot of personal advisors have moved into general advice and still working with their same clients. And a lot of those advisors, when I'm in conversations with them, in my opinion, I don't believe they truly understand the legal requirements to provide general advice or personal advice. And so there are some general advice firms who have been doing it for 10 years. And I think they've got really good frameworks. Legislation hasn't changed, so they understand what they can and can't do. Some of these financial advisors who are now providing general advice, maybe, potentially find it difficult to stay within the general advice guidelines.
Yeah, if you are purely from a personal advice mindset, I couldn't imagine what that adjustment would look like.
And also from the client's point of view, it's like, well, you used to be able to tell me how much cover I needed or which insurer, but now you're telling me to select.
To shift a relationship like that isn't something you can just like flick a switch on.
Yeah. So I do believe it's a ticking time bomb. I do think if ASIC want to tackle this space, they could find some. That was going to
be my question, was how many sort of infringements have we seen in this area?
Not many.
Complaints, AFCA, nothing really.
Well, there are complaints, definitely complaints. The difficulty is that to prove that someone provided personal advice, if things are over the phone, it can be difficult. But again, a lot of the AFCA complaints that are in the system or have been in the system are from those long-term general advice providers, which I do think do stick to the rules. It's just the new general advice providers that are coming in that do scare me. And, the headlines will be, hey, this is advice, providing dodgy advice. And it's like, well, no, we're not the same.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of what we're seeing with like First Guardian, all of that stuff that's, on mainstream media, like ABC. I read an article on the weekend.
I'm getting ABC articles about Shield updates every day.
Yeah, so it's like proper mainstream media and it's like financial advice, doing dodgy stuff. And it's like, well, like again, we're all the same. We're all friends. When one person does something bad, it makes us look bad and it should. We're all one profession. But it's like, well, we don't do investments. Like we shouldn't be tainted in that way. But that's where, it's going to be very nuanced where it's like, well, this is general advice, not personal advice. The general consumer, ABC is not going to be able to pick up the difference. Yeah.
They're not going to write that in their articles. It's not going to start with a whole dialogue on what the difference is.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the good thing about insurance advice is that very few people claim on personal insurance. So the ones that do complain, then they've got to get a claim declined because they otherwise had cover and they felt like they got personal advice. So it's unlikely to come back on the general advice providers when it comes to insurance. It's not like investments where if you lose all your money, like Shield and First Guardian, you're going to go to the advice provider. So, I think it's something to be concerned about in our industry. But do you think it is a necessary evil to manage the underinsurance gap?
There's definitely a space for general insurance. I just don't know if it's a matter of advisors pivoting into it or someone else, starting something out of it instead.
We'll see. Exactly. And I mean, hopefully we don't see. Hopefully I'm completely wrong. That's the best case scenario.
Maybe it'll be somewhere in between.
Yeah. The next thing I wanted to touch on is advisor ratings. From compliance to cool is the article name. So how smart advisors beat finfluencers at their own game. First comment is, can we just not talk about beating finfluencers? Like, we're all friends. Like,
where's the competition? What's that about?
I can appreciate some advisors are like, well, finfluencers are getting attention and providing
What are you doing
advice.
to get more attention then?
Yeah, which is an interesting take, because there was someone who is doing their provisional PY at the moment, and they went public on LinkedIn that their licensee basically said you can't do any of this content because
The licensee I was at previously wouldn't have allowed this.
Yeah, so it is interesting that, the finfluencers like, well, we're just filling that void, and advisors like, well, we feel like we're handcuffed because our licensees won't let us do it. And there is, I understand the tension between the two. But anyway, this article does talk about the trust paradox, why consumers choose influence over expertise. So academic research underscores a trust advantage that finfluencers hold over traditional advisors. Their relatable, accessible, and diverse content resonates with younger and more digitally engaged audiences, a factor that has been challenging for the traditional advisors to address.
One of the important stats that they have, though, at the start is that there's been an increase in the amount of advisors that are getting their clients digitally now. So it was 16%.
It's 25 or 24?
And it's now 25%. Yeah. They don't have the time frame for that increase. I'm guessing 12 months, but...
They would somewhere because AR data or advisor ratings are very data-led.
They're very...
That's their business.
And this whole article is referenced all throughout. It's very good.
This is the thing I do like about advisor ratings and their whole model. And Angus, who leads the business, they are very much like, we want proper data, and they're relatively scientific in the way they manage their stuff. But it is the reason why this headline caught my attention is because we work with digital content creators, and so we are seeing that there is a huge level of trust these content creators have, and we know advisors in the space like Ben Nash from Pivot Wealth. He does a lot of content, and James Wrigley does a lot of content, and the value that is going to their business because of the content that they provide is phenomenal. They're growing really well. So I think advisors, we need to continue to elevate ourselves and just provide like this idea that if I provide my expertise to the masses, it's going to somehow take away from what we do. I think there's less of that fear, but I still think there's a lot of that fear in the market. But I think from my point of view, it's probably people are more concerned about compliance. Yeah, definitely. So
compliance and being shut down by their licensees.
Yeah, and I'll try not to go on too much of a rant about ASIC again, but it does feel like when you are an authorised representative, it's easy for ASIC to come and ping us because...
And there is evidence of that happening a fair amount. So.
Yeah, and so it does feel like, again, I can appreciate there is this feeling like an unlevel playing field. Also, a lot of these finfluencers... Well, I was speaking to one last week, 2 weeks ago, a group, and they were saying, well, we're a media company. We have a media exemption, so we can talk about these things because media companies have an exemption on advice. And so, it is really interesting. And, things like there's plenty of media out there, like ABC can run an article about personal finance stuff and ABC probably wouldn't be getting close to giving advice, but they could talk about products and not be seen as providing advice because they've got a media exemption.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's an interesting space.
Definitely. But, there's ways that you can utilise it that is safe, through the relationships that we have. We're able to generate a lot of client leads without having to be in that compliance risk. So
and also, options. I mean, just talking about what we do here as well. Like we talk about what we're doing internally. Now it's for internal use. Our team watch these videos, but our referral partners watch it, and we have clients watching it as well. And so it's important. And for us, we're not pushing anyone to a financial product in these discussions.
No, it's more the relationship side of things.
Yeah, people want to
familiarity.
Yeah, people want to work with people and feel like they know the people that they're working with and the company. So I think advisors need to get out of their comfort zone and start creating more content.
Meet people where they are.
Yeah. All right, now on to client stories. So last week we had Azaria, and now this week we've got Eddie. Welcome, Eddie.
No worries. Thank you, Phil.
How you going, Eddie?
I'm well. How are you?
All right, I'm doing good. So you've got a client story for us this week.
I do, Phil. I do have a client story for us today. So we had a client who had booked in a review call. They had full insurances in place along with income protection, which they'd taken out while they were working full time. They decided that they wanted to go back to uni and do their master's degree and also work for the university at the same time for the next 3 years. She'd been offered a scholarship. As a result, she would now receive less than half of her income, which was paid as a salary or a stipend.
Oh, so what were your initial concerns when hearing about this client's change in role?
So the concern we had when we were completing the review was that would the insurer still actually provide cover in the event of an income protection claim, just given the change in her role, the lower income returning to study, which also had a work component.
And so what was your approach?
So essentially what we did is we went back to the insurer, and once we went through the concerns that the client had, at that particular point, they weren't able to offer us an answer. So the query was escalated up to their technical team. Their response was that they were actually unsure whether they would still be able to provide cover at that point, and they needed some additional information. So what we did is we went back to the client. We asked them to provide us with a breakdown of their work, their contact study hours, what were the duties, and what would be the responsibilities within this new role. So we also asked the client to send us some documentation, or as much documentation as she had with regards to the new role. And then the client came back to us with a breakup of their work hours, their study hours, what their duties were, and was also able to provide us a copy of the scholarship commencement form and also the master's degree contract. Once we got all that information back, we then went back to the insurer. That went back up to their technical team, and they came back saying that they would still be able to provide her with income protection, but we just had to do the review and make sure that we adjusted the policy to reflect her new income.
Awesome, Eddie. Anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, I suppose not just about this client, but just in general. So it's important for all clients to reach out to us if there's any major changes to their occupation or major changes to their levels of income, just so that we can make sure that their cover isn't impacted. So with income protection, it's always ideal to make sure that the monthly benefit that you're insured for reflects what your earnings are, as this can impact your premiums, of course. But at claim time, the insurers will generally ask you to substantiate your earnings. So ideally, we'd want to make sure that what you're insured for actually reflects your current income.
All right, a little bit off topic here, Eddie. Now the Skye ride, we've got 1,000 kilometres this week. Are you participating? Okay, so your face says it all.
Do I need to donate money? Because the only thing I'm doing that's 1,000 kilometres is Bathurst.
Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe we should look at Skye Bathurst, so like a V8 car race. Actually, that's a good idea. Maybe you and Taz could do like a drag race or something.
Yeah, I know. But knowing my life, I'd probably ride off the car.
Oh, hey, you know what? That could be good content. This is why we have insurance. All right, Eddie, I don't see a bike in the background, so I'm going to assume it's up to me, Trent, Azaria, and Nat, and Lenny, and a few of us. But as you said, you can donate. So thanks heaps for taking the time today. We'll talk soon.
No worries. Thanks very much. See ya.
All right, Ash, what client story do you have?
I do have one as well this week. So I was chatting with a client last week who works as a flight nurse, so Royal Flying Doctors. She works with them. And she's previously come and gotten insurance with us. She was on maternity leave at the time, so wasn't able to get income protection. She's come back now that she has returned to work. Her partner does the exact same work. And so when all the insurers were coming back to us saying no income protection isn't available, we said, we know someone who has done this before. So we were able to go back to that insurer, ask, double check what the situation was, remind them that for her partner, they were able to include an aviation exclusion. And that way she was able to get income protection. So we haven't gotten to the application stage yet. There could still be some hiccups along the way. But right now we're looking at income protection that includes an aviation exclusion, which means that if she's unable to fly and therefore unable to work, the income protection wouldn't pay out.
Yeah.
but it means that at the very least she still has access to something.
Yeah. It is really interesting. The insurers are so hesitant to cover any flight attendants or pilots because I guess that requirement to get on a plane and do that work is maybe much more difficult. For my client story, so we had a client who made a claim this week, or got paid out a claim. So the claim was $302,400 for a trauma policy. They had spina bifida. Now, this was originally Azaria helped this client set up the policy, and they're going to potentially have 2 years off work and in bed because of the injury, illness, disease, sickness. The reason for the claim is because we're going to have potentially 2 years off work.
Wow.
So. Now, I always look at what did they have when they came to us because it's interesting. Now, they did have $500,000 of disability cover with like a Suncorp policy. Now, we recommended they maintain that but take out these other policies. So recommended they take out trauma, which is what the policy paid out on, and then increase some other disability covers as well. So, yeah, it's obviously incredibly sad for our client. Claiming on insurance is kind of the worst case scenario. Yes, there's $300,000 in the bank, but everyone would prefer to have their health.
Rather not have that claimable event.
Yeah. Now, other things to think about is, there is reinstatement on the policy. So they can reinstate that policy in the future after 12 months. Things like life buyback. So they can reinstate their life cover portion of it. And there's also a financial planning benefit as well, which is I would love insurers to expand this to help claims management. But it means that, if our client needs to go and get some strategic financial advice on their needs and how to utilize that money, they can go and get that. And there's a bit of money that can go towards that advice. Now, the advice is $3,000. Most advisors to do that strategic work charge more than that. So that is some of the issues with it. I would love to see these benefits go towards more claims management as well, because there is potentially a significant amount of work involved in that. But yeah, it's just another, we are dealing with more claims than we ever have. And it's a great reminder that, yes, we're setting up these policies to get Australians insured, everyday Australians. These aren't high-income earners who have access to this, to have it when you need it most. Because,
for sure.
Our client's going through a really tough time. And then, again, would much rather than be healthy, but having that money in the bank is super important.
Definitely.
All right, on to Ash's Baking Corner.
Skye team's ready, forks in hand. Ash's Baking takes the stand.
And we've got a new guest, Marie. Thank you for joining us, Marie.
You're welcome.
All right, now what we have today is, what do we got, Ash?
Chocolate meringues. I've recently learned that you can put things in meringues and it's just... Anyway, I'll let Marie be the judge.
It's good or bad, yeah. All right. So, Marie, the rules are you get to have one.
Okay.
Yeah, you choosing the biggest one. Everyone, I should always choose first and then guess we'll let the guest choose first. All right, so, Marie, you get to taste it.
Yep.
And then you give us a rating out of 10.
Okay.
Last week you gave me points off for messiness and probably going to happen again. Meringues are not the...
We'll see. Well, I've got to play now, so maybe
crumbly.
I won't give you points off for it. Oh, I got a cheeky bit of hardened chocolate at the bottom.
Just for the sob story, get myself extra points. I made these by hand.
Wow.
Whisk and bowl.
As you know, Ash, I'm not a baker. Tell me, how does one normally do it? They
A
get
normal
whisker.
person that respects their own time and fitness
Yeah.
just puts it in a stand mixer or uses an
It's
electric
egg
beater.
whites that you zhuzh up. So how'd you zhuzh it enough?
My hands.
With a
What do you
fork?
mean? No, a whisk.
Which?
Oh, okay. How long did it take you?
I don't know, 10 minutes.
And why don't you respect your own time?
Oh, this is just one of the things that I enjoy the battle of. Yeah.
Battle.
Will you end up with a RSI injury?
Maybe.
I have insurance for that.
Yeah, I like it.
Good answer.
All right, Marie. You've
Out
had
of
enough.
10. Wow.
Are you a baker, Marie?
No.
you
at
said
all.
that emphatically.
I've got all the kit. I don't think I've ever used it.
Have you got a KitchenAid?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. I think the meringue part is great. Just chocolate.
You're not
so
a fan?
sure about the chocolate. I always associate lemon meringue with meringue with lemon.
Well, I understand. First of all, Marie, thank you, because I've been desperate to give Ash good feedback. So I'm giving her a better score. So I look like the good guy here today for once. It never happens. Ash, I'm going to give you, I like chocolate. I'm actually less of a fan of meringue than I am chocolate. If it was only meringue or lemon meringue, I actually probably would have given it less. Messiness factor, I brought a plate with me today, so you don't get pinged for that. I reckon it's an 8.5. Now, I knew what these were because you decided to not respect your own time and come to my daughter's circus class. Not circus class, circus show yesterday. So the girls
Worth it. Really good. She was amazing.
She was amazing.
She had a really huge speaking role. It was very impressive.
Yeah, well done, Lilla. Proud of you. And so I knew it. The girls all had it, and the girls rated you between 8.5 and 9. But Neha didn't. She gave you a 7 as well. So this is good. I'm going 8.5. Well done.
Thanks, Phil.
I'm trying to be nicer. I'm getting better. All right. Wonderful.
Ashes baking takes the stand.
All right. What's coming up at Skye this week?
Got a couple things. First up, we have a new starter today. Dhruv. Am I saying his name right?
This is a great question.
I'll find out later.
This is a fantastic question that I know the two people who interviewed them and hired them don't know exactly how to pronounce it. So
we'll
that's our
find
job
out today.
Yeah.
He's starting as a new associate, so that's exciting. And then I'm going to a Zurich webinar about income protection. Less exciting, but interesting for me.
Yep.
How about you?
And we have, as we mentioned in the interview with Eddie, we have the Skye rides. So we've got jerseys. So I'm going to move
How
my mic.
fancy. Look at that. They've gone and had custom jerseys made. Jam and our marketing team's done an incredible job to design these jerseys.
Yes. So I've done 30Ks this morning.
Well done.
Yeah. So there's someone in the office that I will not name because I don't want to embarrass them completely. But I rock up to work this morning like, all right, how many Ks are you going to do for us this week? And they're like confident as anything, saying, I'll do 1,000.
Well, he said the goal is 1,000, but maybe I'll do 300.
So my aim is 250 Ks,
Yeah.
and I'm like really not looking forward to it. I'm got to wake up every single morning early and do an hour.
No, he's keen.
Yeah, he says he's keen, but 1,000.
Hasn't done any Ks yet either.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, there's
Wait and see.
been absolutely no warm up, and just the confidence of this young man to say I'll do 1,000 Ks is just. I've been talking about young men and their confidence, and it's insane that he thinks he's going to do 1,000 Ks. My bet is going to be sub 100 Ks this week.
I think 120. Yeah, we'll see. We'll find out next week.
If this person gets over 250 Ks and is not injured, I will be surprised because I think an injury is coming.
Yeah, probably.
And then, all right, what else have we got? We've got a quarterly all-team meeting. So every quarter we do them and we do surveys before them to see how the team are feeling. So we've got that coming up this week, which is great. I really like those quarterly all-team meetings. I waffle on a little bit too much. Others say a lot.
I was going to say,
much,
I haven't actually heard any feedback from anyone saying Phil talks too much. So maybe you're all right.
That's good. All right. And then I'm going to FAAA lunch with some of our team members. So we've got Kat, we've got Lenny, and we've got Sam coming along. So that's an Inspire lunch for FAAA. All right, the other thing is we do have some content coming out. So we've got our blog, Guaranteed Future Insurability, the mechanics, how it works. Skye Simplifies, so duty to take reasonable care. Got a deep dive with Neha, owning insurance inside versus outside of super. So that's a good deep dive that we're doing. We've got some Skye insurance myths. I don't need insurance. I can rely on government support. And if you enjoyed this week at Skye, if you enjoyed this week at Skye, it works. We have a playlist on screen that you can watch. Thanks heaps for watching. And thank you again, Ashley Margaret Campbell.
Thank you, Philip James Johnson. See you next week.
Bye.